Let me share. Fuck. R. Kelly news. Does anyone here like R. Kelly's music? Even though he's like trash. R. Kelly sentenced to 30 years for a scheme to lure. The R&B singer, 55, is likely to spend much of the rest of his life in prison after being convicted of years of psychological and sexual abuse. Yeah, it's like, it's sad because like, I think he was also as well. And like, the cycle just continues, you know? Jesus. Still a piece of. I do too, Joe. I do too. I grew up with his music, but yeah, fuck him. Damn. Oh, I wish there was just a way for people to just get help, you know, like intervention, like early in life. So, like, if you were when you're young, you don't like perpetuate that cycle onto like other people and like create more victims, and it's like an ongoing, endless cycle. Like, I don't know, it's just like really sad. But yeah, still, fuck him. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people felt that way with like, you know how like people say like, oh, you can separate the art from the artist. It's hard to sometimes, but yeah, I still listen to his music. R. Kelly, the former R&B singer who had a long escaped criminal penalties despite decades of sexual misconduct allegations, was sentenced to 30 years in prison Wednesday for racketeering and other crimes. I wonder if he's like at peace now because I feel like this has always been looming over his head for like so many effing years. So now that he's like, okay, well, I'm going to jail, so it is what it is. Like, I wonder if it's like he's finally at peace with it because like that was like always looming over him, whether or not he was going to go to jail, whether or not he was going to like be in trouble for all the shit that he's done. It's crazy. It's like a crazy way to live your life, just having that over you. Ew. Okay, shut up. He did not say that, did he? Ew. Bleep. Ugh. He's a Pied Piper of R&B and I grew up with it. Yeah. The sentencing in Brooklyn marks the culmination of a stunning downfall of Mr. Kelly. Damn, he's like 55 years old. Oh, that's tough, man. Because like when you're that old, you're not gonna have access to like the greatest like medical care. I don't think you are, especially if you're in prison. Oh, it's gonna be so uncomfortable. I seriously doubt the beds are comfortable. You're probably not eating healthy food. Like, oof, that is rough. Like if you're going to jail while you're young, at least you can like, you know, you're not gonna have like a lot of like health issues. But dude, when you're like 55 plus, oh. From a superstar hitmaker who was known as the king of R&B to a shunned artist whose musical legacy became inextricable from his abuses. Wait, but I remember this, like, when I was a kid, we heard about the whole R. Kelly thing. Like, R. Kelly going to trial, and then, like, he was accused of, you know, the infamous one of urinating on, like, a 14-year-old girl. Like, this was, like, how many years ago? Like, 20, 30 years ago? Jesus. And they just got him. Oh yeah, and the Aaliyah thing. Well, a lot of crazy shit happened in like the 90s and thousands. Like you know, like movies where like even like Disney movies where like child celebrities who were like 14, 15 years old making out with like dudes that are like 20s and they're like mid 20s and stuff like that. Like it was against the law, but yeah, there was like people didn't really say anything. Like remember when Hillary Duff, when she was going out with what's his name, Joel Madden or something? He was like what 9 years older than her. Ugh. And she was like still under 18. The chart-topping artist was among the most successful American musicians in the 90s and 2000s, known for hits like "I Believe I Can Fly." But his public image soared. He exploited his vast access to young fans and aspiring artists at concerts, luring them into acts with little regards for their age. The multi-platinum singer was found guilty on 9 counts of racketeering and other crimes in September after his federal trial in New York shed light on how he used enablers and sycophants to ensnare fans and aspiring artists while controlling their lives. The case was widely seen as a crucial milestone for the hashtag #MeToo movement, representing the first high-profile trial since the national racketeering around sexual misconduct to feature a powerful man whose victims were primarily Black women. Before the sentence was read, Judge Donnelly listened to several accusers deliver vivid victim impact statements detailing the ways their lives were marred by the singer. Yeah, there's a documentary out on Netflix as well. And I watched like the first like 2 episodes. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. It's a lot of victims. The counts added to the trial testimony of 11 accusers, 9 women and 2 men, who often told jurors that Mr. Kelly had inflicted severe sexual, physical, and emotional. Several testified they were minors. Mr. Kelly's lawyer, Jennifer Bonjean, had argued that the government's understanding of the appropriate sentence range was flawed and asked for the sentence of under 10 years. What a joke. 10 years. Jesus, this guy lived like a free life. Or when was he in prison? Was he always like out and about? Or did they actually place him in prison as they were doing the trial? But Judge Donnelly ultimately agreed with the prosecutors, who asked in terms of excess of 25 years. Federal prosecutors wrote in their sentencing letter that Mr. Kelly had shown no remorse and for decades exhibited callous disregard for the effects of his on victims. His actions seemed to be fueled by narcissism and feel that his belief that his musical talents absolved him of any need to conform his conduct to the law. He wrote in their argument for his sentence. He committed those crimes using his fame and stardom as both a shield, which prevented close scrutiny and condemnation of his actions, the prosecutor wrote, and a sword which gave him access to wealth and a network of enablers to facilitate his crimes, and adoring fans from which to call his victims. Mr. Kelly, whose name is Robert... Wait, what? That's his name? I actually didn't know that was his name. Robert Sylvester Kelly was first accused of having sex with an underage girl. Yeah, in the 1990s. Yeah, dude, holy shit. This was like a long time ago. His illegal marriage to the singer Aaliyah, when she was like 15, prompted questions about his behavior. A few years later, in 2002, Mr. Kelly was indicted on charges, was acquitted. Oh, I didn't know about that. Or maybe I did. It was not until the hashtag #MeToo renewed scrutiny of his conduct under a new wave of charges arrived at a conviction finally stuck in New York. In her sentencing letter, which was unsealed on Tuesday, Ms. Bonjean, Mr. Kelly's lawyer, told the judge that prosecutors portrayed her client as a one-dimensional villain, undeserving of any measure of humanity or dignity, and that there is far more to the picture. Really, Mr. Kelly's lawyer, tell us more. She said that his traumatic childhood, which includes severe history of by relatives and others, warrants a lenient sentence. Mr. Kelly said in a 2016 interview with GQ that he was abused while growing up. But here's the thing, though. He didn't... There wasn't just one victim. It was a lot of victims. This is a person that just can't be a part of society. You know, he has to be locked away, and he needs to get help. But, you know, he's like 55 years old. That's going to be really tough, so... I don't know what they're going to do. They're probably just going to throw him in jail, and just that's about it. He's not an evil monster, but a complex, unquestionably flawed human being who faced overwhelming challenges in childhood that shaped his adult life, Ms. Bonjean wrote. At trial, Mr. Kelly's lawyers sought to frame his accusers as obsessive fans and opportunists who sought to financial gain. Did they even get money or anything? Are they going to get any money? To be honest, like it's a lot of headache to find a lawyer, to do all the paperwork, to show them in court. Like, no one wants to go to court. It's a nightmare. But the jury ultimately believed the prosecution. The defendant's victims aren't groupies or gold diggers. They're human beings, Nadia Shahada, a assistant U.S. attorney, said at the end of the trial. Daughters, sisters, some are mothers, and their lives matter. Sheesh. Well, there you go. 30 years. So Ghislaine Maxwell, 25 years. R. Kelly, 30 years. All right, guys. What else is going on in the world out there?